I don't know. I hope
Are you hot today, Ed?
Ashley's getting
hot.
Ashley's getting a peek behind the curtain. I hope she doesn't lose respect for us.
Okay, that's to assume she had respect to start.
That is very presumptuous. Yes.
All right. Well, if there are no questions and there's nothing else to do, let's get the show on the road.
All right.
Y'all ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
With 50-plus years of combined produce, supply chain, entrepreneurial, and business experience, Craig, Slate, and Ed Bertaud discuss the impacts of fresh produce on their lives and health. This podcast is a casual conversation between two friends just trying to get better. This is the Fresh CrEd.
Welcome, everybody, to another The Fresh CrEd podcast. I'm here with my good friend Ed Bertaud, our production crew, Laura Slate and Mason Hartung. And guys, welcome. And it looks like somebody else has showed up in the studio that's not normal. Who's here?
Hey, Ashley here, coming at you from Pflugerville, Texas.
What? Pflugerville?
Pflugerville with a PF. Pflugerville.
Okay, so
and for those non-Texans, it's not a place in a Dr. Seuss book.
Exactly. That's where I was going with it. So is that really the name of the town?
That's really the name of the town. We got 53,000 people, only 20 minutes away from Austin and about an hour and a half from San Antonio.
So do you know the history on that name?
Pflugerville? I'd be lying if I try to explain it. I just know we have a festival every year that we're famous for, Deutschenfest. So
sounds like maybe some Czechs named that place. That's what I'm going to guess. There's a few Czechs. People don't know that about Texas unless you're from Texas. Heavy German and Czech influence, particularly hill country where you're at, Pflugerville area, and all that over there. I used to go to a big festival as a young person called Westfest, and polka dancing and beer drinking. That's always a part of everything in Texas.
Barbecue
and sausage. You know they'd have barbecue, but I don't think the Germans brought that. You think?
Well, I'm just saying there's
barbecue?
barbecue, like in Sealy, like there's certain areas where you have barbecue, and particularly you can tell by the sausage what influence, their food is from, whether it's German or Polish or
True.
Yeah. And so I tend to like the Polish influence on the sausage side. I'm getting hungry.
So I've had the opportunity to go a couple of times to Oktoberfest. And, growing up in Dallas or growing up in Texas, period, this great state fair of Texas, which, by the way, I think, is that kicking off this weekend?
They're setting it up.
Mason, is that this weekend? Yeah, Mason's shaking his head.
I have no idea.
Aren't you from Texas?
Yeah.
And you don't know about the great state fair of Texas?
I know. I've worked the great state, I've worked the fair plenty of years with my company out there, but yeah. I just don't go anymore. I'm not interested.
Well, anyway, so I don't want the whole show to be about the great state fair of Texas.
They were setting Big Tex up just the other day. I saw it on the news. So yes, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's right here. If it's not this weekend, it's next weekend, something like that. That it's getting underway. But to try and make a long story that I usually tell shorter than my normal stories, I got out the first time I'm at the Oktoberfest, and I get out. It became very apparent where the Great State Fair of Texas came from, because it looked like the Great State Fair of Texas over in Munich, Germany. Tents and, again, beer drinking and sausage stands. Anyway, huge German, Czech influence in Texas. Certainly the Great State Fair of Texas was influenced by, it's obvious it was a German influence, and it's a great time as children, as young adults. we used to spend the entire month pretty much at the Great State Fair of Texas. It was basically you saved all your money just so you could go hang out there for an entire month. So,
is that when sodas were a nickel and
apparently
a pair of pants was $1 and shirts were 50 cents?
Yes, that's what it was, Ed. You keep trying to imply that I'm old.
Tell us more.
I'm aware of that. All right, but anyway, so Ashley's here. We've got us a guest. We told you guys we kept it a secret. We're going to get into Ashley's story here a little bit later in the show, but Ed insisted on having his airtime, so we've got to let Ed talk a little bit to start the show off, and then we'll get to the meat of the matter and talk a little bit about Ashley. But Ashley, it is great to have you here.
Happy to be here.
You know, she's rocking the Fresh CrEd cap, so she is one of our avid listeners. So we are excited to have her part of this show and have her bring in her story. She's got a great story. It's going to be a lot of fun. Have a good time, Ashley. As we go through here, and I know it'll be tough with us and as much as we compete for the mic, but please just interrupt us and jump in with something, anything you got as we're talking along. So
you got it.
So Ed, I'm going to kick it off to you so you can get your time in. What would you like to cover?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm setting you up, buddy.
I mean, what did I do this week? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't do anything exciting.
What did you do this weekend?
I was traveling for work, but nothing as exciting as you. I was in Houston this week, but you were out in Monterey, which it seems like you were just there. So it must have been something important, or you rationalized as important. What was it?
Or I just like Monterey.
What were you doing? What? Wait.
So, well, I mean,
what course did you get to play while you were there?
Houston. Poppy.
You did.
That's kind of like my home course.
That's your home course. I have an idea why it's your home course, because it's the best value on the peninsula.
It is.
That's more than likely why that's your home course. Right? Okay. Great course. Did you have the bacon?
There's no way.
I had told you before, they have the best bacon I've ever had in my life.
I've never eaten anything there, and you've told me about that place. I couldn't remember this time I'm there, and I could not remember what you told me I was supposed to eat, and of course I didn't eat again. So.
I mean, we've almost eliminated all pork at home. It kind of, I don't know, unless it's like pulled pork or bacon. All other items kind of gross me out now, but I don't know why. But their bacon, they have a smoked bacon. They do smoked, and it's ridiculous. It's like that thick, or wide, I should say. It's pretty good. You should have had it. Anyway, just an excuse to go back.
That on the list, smoked bacon.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, so I'm now you've kind of so we can get to that organic show, but what's this about your disdain for pork?
Yeah, no, I don't have a disdain for pork. I think I just had too much of it. You know, it's one of those things my mom made a lot growing up because it was one of my brother's favorites, pork chops and mole. Pork chops and chicken mole. Those two things.
Pork chops and applesauce.
I have had a river of mole and a farm of pork chops. And I just, I don't ever really care to have any more. So that's it.
Since I had rata in mole, I've kind of been steered away from mole.
Since you had what?
Rata.
So
if you go down to, was it in Torreon? Was it Torreon? Where was I at? I'm trying to remember the guys. Yeah, so I had rata.
Are you sure it wasn't just a play on words? Is there really rata and mole?
Oh, no. Oh, you can see them. They're creatures. Oh, yeah.
Because there's no like capybara that I know of because the only other rodent I know that people eat, like I think it's in Brazil, is capybara. You know, those big water rats.
What? Well, they eat those in South Louisiana too.
Nutria.
So here's their theory. This is a delicacy. You guys apparently you're not familiar with rata.
No.
Where was I? Was it, San Luis Potosí. I think it's San Luis Potosí. That's where we were at. Yeah. Anyway, it's a delicacy down there. And supposedly these little mice, they feed under the agave plant. They eat the roots. So they're super clean. Well, I'm like, come on. Seriously? You think people aren't just rounding up the rando mice that are running around the city, not eating from the agave plant? I mean, no, kids, it's the real deal. This is a true story. I had it. My buddy Eduardo Herbst was with me, so he can vouch for it. Yeah, they insisted we try it, and we did, and I got through it. It's not the worst thing I've ever eaten, but it's
how
not
many
something
ranch
I'll be
waters
going back
had you
for.
had?
But yeah,
how many ranch waters had you had before they introduced this?
Fact
because
is,
I mean, they sell mice in the shape like chocolate mice, and stuff at the store. I mean, you sure they weren't messing with you?
Yeah, these were mice, buddy.
Okay.
Look, the little guy's bones were left over on my plate. Okay, I'm telling
That's
you.
finger licking right there, boy.
And what was even worse, so I'm sitting there, and I turned to Eddie, and I said, "Hey, bro," I said, "Look at the guy next to us." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Where's his bones?" The guy next to me was consuming bones and all. He thought it was all good. Yeah. Didn't go for second helpings, I'll be honest with you. I just stuck with the one serving of rata.
Man, that is so far from Monterey, California. I can't even, I know you weren't eating.
How did we get there? This path went a long ways from Monterey, California. And it was organic. Organic rata. Mm-hmm. So maybe that ties back into the show.
Yeah.
And you know what? I bet you would like pork a lot better if rat was your other option.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yes, may I have some more?
You got to try it sometime. Oh, yeah, we could go down my food history. I got a whole list of foods of not to eat and things not to try. But anyway, meanwhile, back at OPN, Organic Produce Network show, outstanding show. Turnout was great. Ashley, some of your cohorts were out there running around. Saw a couple of those folks, Brian Booton, somebody else. Who else was out there? Somebody.
Was hanging out? I'm not sure who went to the show. If it was, trying to think who was missing at the office, but Brian, maybe Jason.
See, I don't know Jason, so he could have been there. Anyway, point being is the turnout was exceptional. I actually thought, it was a well-attended show, lots of people, great content. They do such a nice job of putting that show on. We were actually early out when they first did the show. We were in with a booth, and glad we were because it's sold out every year. Super small show, and Ashley, Ed, y'all should put that on your calendar for next year.
I had planned to go
because it is.
Yeah, but first I had canceled because it was a week of TOC, and then when that was canceled, something came up with an important meeting I had this week, and so I couldn't go. But I wanted to go for sure. No, I mean, other than the fact that we could have had a podcast out there, and I could have enjoyed some sub 110 degree weather.
Is that what it is down in South Texas?
It's been pretty hot. Warm? I mean, I was, I had about 29,000 steps yesterday. I'm just going to say. I played golf in the morning and then cleaning up construction debris at my house the rest of the afternoon and evening. And it was very, very hot. Like, I almost wanted to puke a couple times, that hot. I just got overheated, I didn't drink enough water and whatever, but it was pretty hot.
2-a-days all again? Of course, 2-a-days for you and Gilroy weren't really that big a deal.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. No, 2-a-days weren't too bad.
I know.
I thought they were bad, but in retrospect, and you see these Pee-wee, Bryce played Pop Warner and some in high school. Those are some tough kids. When you see kids that are like, especially the ones that are like pre-junior high, pre-middle school, like you can't make kids that age do a whole heck of a lot. So they really have to love it. You know, when you see those guys like in helmets and shoulder pads and it's August in Texas, man,
it's miserable.
It's hardcore.
In fact, in Granger, he did one tour of duty in 7th grade football, but he spent most of his time playing soccer. And they had a tournament every year in stinking August, dude. And it was in west of Fort Worth. Oh my gosh, dusty, hot. I mean, it was miserable just to be an attendee. I kept thinking, I don't even know how these kids do this. I mean, how do they get out? And then they're running full on, you know. I mean, you know what soccer is.
Yeah.
They go, and it's a tournament. So you play the entire weekend. You'll play 5-6 games across the weekend.
I mean, that's the thing. If you love it enough, you'll do it. I mean, we played yesterday, and I don't know who was controlling the irrigation, but they had watered really heavy the night before. And so with the already whatever humidity we had, the humidity that was coming out of the ground and then walking, you know, all day, I mean, you really got to want to be out there, right? It was torture.
Sounds like fun, Ed. Sounds great. Yeah. Well, Poppy wasn't quite that bad.
So yeah. Did you get a caddy?
Poppy was a little
Did you get one of those youth caddies?
No, Poppy does not do that. You know, hence again the value. They would have a bunch of cheapo depots like me out there, and the caddies would go broke.
Well, maybe it was during the week. Was it during the week?
It's Friday.
Okay.
But I don't think they do a 4 caddy.
Yeah, they do. Well, I mean, last time I was there, they have a pretty cool program, actually. It's called Youth on Course. And so the Northern California Golf Association owns that course. They own Poppy Hills, from what I understand.
Yeah, I'm a member.
And that's why it's relatively a good value. But they also have a program with youth players that allows them. So you pay the course, and it's a pretty nominal fee. I mean, it's like $50 or $100, something like that. And they give, you know, half of the money goes to the program, like basically to the Northern California Golf Association. The other half goes to the caddy, and it's called Youth on Course. And then they also get to play and practice there, you know, free of charge for those kids that caddy. Now, the last time I did it, good kid. I mean, it made for a great experience for me because I just walked, you know, and he pushed the cart. Didn't give me a lot of feedback as far as, you know, where to play and where to stay away from and yardages, but just being able to just stroll was a great experience, especially as you know, in that weather and with that scenery. So I would totally do it again. I wish they had more programs like that in Texas to promote walking.
Now, Ashley, are you a golfer?
Oh no, I'm a boxer. I'm anything boxing. I did try golf for the first time when we did TOC my first year in produce procurement 4 years ago. And I do have respect for the game. I do have an appreciation. I just am not involved with the sport. But before, I honestly, if I'm being honest, I didn't see it as a sport, but I do now. I can definitely see and respect why people enjoy it. And I probably would get more into it, you know, if I had more time on my hands. But boxing is where my love is and where my heart is.
Well, definitely a different source of adrenaline, getting punched in the face or punching somebody in the face versus strolling, as Ed talked about it. So different level of adrenaline.
For sure. It's a great stress reliever.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it would be. So golf is too. Like I said, I prefer it. I wouldn't be good at getting punched. So it's definitely something I had to stay away from.
I got real lucky whenever I first hit the ball because, again, I didn't know nothing about golf. So they had to give me a quick run through on our first with my first team. Right. And your form is very similar to the form you need to throw. For me, it's my right. And so my form was just very, very perfect. And I hit the ball and I got an award for the longest drive my first year. But that was literally the one and only time that I hit the ball in all the times that we did TOC. I was never able to hit it that perfect, that far, that long ever again throughout the whole thing. I was getting pretty good at the putts, I guess, or the shorter ones, but yeah, the long one, it was because I wasn't thinking. And so after you know what you didn't know, I'm trying too hard. And I was putting, I couldn't just let myself go and let it happen organically. I was putting too much force in it or whatever. But the first time I just didn't know. They just wanted to see what I could do. And they gave me a couple pointers and I was like, boom. And then after that, I couldn't do it again.
Yeah. You could try to start reproducing it as opposed to just letting it free. There's got to be something philosophical in that, right? Something about, just letting it go and just free flowing. Kind of like the show. We just let it flow.
Let things happen.
Hopefully it goes somewhere.
Good times.
So, all right. So we got organic show. We've got our golf out of the way. Ed,
I mean, the other big news.
You eating anything?
No, the other big news was PMA canceled.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah. I mean,
now what are we going to do?
I don't know well, I wasn't going to go anyway, unfortunately, or fortunately for me.
Ooh.
That was my Colorado trip, or is. So I wasn't going to attend this year. I was going to send a virtual presence. I'm joking. No, I wasn't going to go. So
I know you. So you're not too disappointed?
I'm not totally disappointed. I feel bad, for obviously the organization, and I don't know. I don't know if it's more COVID related or hurricane damage related. I don't know really the details. I know I just started getting texts a few days ago. Hey, guess what? PMA's canceled, and that was it.
Well, I think it's a combination of everything, right? It's one of those things where it started to feel like it's just not meant to be. COVID certainly was not good. Lots of people started.
From a financial standpoint, unless it's an act of God, you as an organization, you're not going to get out of contracts without being heavily penalized. So I have to think that it's likely a municipal thing or a convention center thing or a weather-related event type. Yeah, it's you don't just pull out of shows like that. From our experiences in the past.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen. So you usually have to be able to post up a viable reason. For us, it was for
this
Viva. The year we skipped Viva, it was there was a shelter-in-place order. I mean, you can't get around a shelter-in-place order. So that was our rationale or defense, I should say.
No, you were spot on with that. And I don't know what they're going to do. I'm sure they got a plan. New Orleans having the weather event might have been their big out, right? Because I think the National Guard or somebody's like at our host hotel right now. So I'm sure that had some effect on it.
Wow.
So, hey, something before we get along, Ashley, I wanted to let you know just for future reference. So the area, this is Pflugerville, the area was initially settled by, guess what? German immigrant. Yes. And it was Henry Pfluger. That's Pfluger, Pfluger, Senior. So apparently he had a junior, I guess. 1803 to 1867. Apparently that was, and then members of his family from 1849 into 1850. Pfluger has been a wealthy farming community had been a wealthy farmer in Germany, but lost all his property during the Persian War. That's a history right there, right? I mean, come on. Did you realize that's like 3 degrees separation between you and the Persian War, Prussia?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I had a feeling your instincts were right, though, Craig.
Thanks. Yeah.
I thought mine were. I thought Dr. Seuss had something to do with it.
My reading skills aren't that great, but my instincts are good. What did you say, Ed? What funny remark did you have there?
Nothing.
El Frenchie?
Nothing.
So, I just, but yeah, that's a cool story. Now I know a little more about Pflugerville, and so does everybody else. You guys should get to Pflugerville sometime. When next time we're in Pflugerville, what's the one thing we should do, Ashley, when strolling through Pflugerville?
Ooh, what a tough question. The one thing you should do when strolling in Pflugerville. We have a huge Baptist church that a lot of folks like to stop and visit just because it takes up almost a whole corner of a street. Downtown Pflugerville, just like any old school downtown, has some really neat buildings that you can take pictures of. We have a house, it's called the Pink House. There's this gentleman who is disabled, and he literally painted his entire house this Pepto-Bismol color because it makes him happy. And he happens to be in like an old school part of Pflugerville, so it's not developed by any HOA. So you got 50% of the community who hates it and 50% of the community who loves it. But those are the first things that come to mind.
I think the Pink House. I think that's got to be the winner. I'm seeing the Pepto-Bismol house the next time I'm in town. So, and maybe some barbecue. According to Ed, there's some barbecue there
in Pflugerville.
That's what Ed said. That's the first thing he mentioned.
She was talking about Lockhart. That's when I mentioned it.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So no barbecue in Pflugerville. Just a Pink House and Pepto and beer, maybe. Maybe they've got good beer there.
There's great snow cones. Great snow cones.
Snow cones.
Snow cones stand
cone
everywhere.
Capital of the world.
Well, if you ever need help with the Pink House, we've got some HOA members on our WhatsApp chat that I'd love to turn loose on him if you need some help with him. Hopefully none of them listen to
So
this.
your new HOAs... Obviously, Ed's cool design for the front of his house is getting nixed.
No.
Yeah.
Like they don't like it?
No, it's nothing. No, it's nothing like that. I was just joking.
Oh, wait a second.
There's just a lot of.
You want to do purple shutters. You wanted to do purple shutters.
Dialogue. No. You know me. I'm not.
Well, one of those cutout produce guys from the Salinas Valley.
Yeah, I'm a conformist.
That's what you need. You need a picture of you out there doing something like with an FCO RPC, like the produce cutouts. You familiar with? If you've been to Salinas, yeah. Oh yeah, actually, I think your story takes place in Salinas, or it's out in California. I know that. So
yeah, you're 100%.
But you know those big cutout produce people.
Yeah.
I love that art. Yeah, they're so cool.
I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. So,
Craig, one of these days, I'm going to make one of those of you.
I want one of those. I really do, man.
I'm not sure where we would put it.
They're great,
but it would be Flat Craig. That's what we're going to call it.
They've got them at the airport. Maybe I could put one at Tucson Airport. When people come into town, they can see me there. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? We could maybe get one done of you and I doing a podcast.
Sure. You could start it for Viva.
We could, you know what? We're going to get one done of me and you, and that'll be like the intro for our podcast. It's going to be just you and I in the big cutout. And you'll have an RPC, and I'll have a couple of pieces of squash. I think that's awesome. God, this show is such an idea generation thing. This is like an idea tank.
Idea tank. I love it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's hustle along because I want to get to Ashley, the main event. Pun intended, by the way, since you are a boxer. But before we do, Ed, any quotes, any food this week? I mean, I know you eat. And in fact, I got a request for your special bowl recipe that you promised me that you'd send. All I wanted was recipe, and you're going to make a video. You can't just send me the recipe. So now the person's like a week later, like, hey, can that guy send me that recipe? It's like, no, he's making a video. We'll get to you someday. So anyway.
Wow.
What you eating? What you quoting?
I mean, you got to knock me down first so you can build me back up. Right? I did tell you I was on the road all week and got home like at 10 o'clock on Friday night. And then, yeah, I'll get the video done, though.
No, you didn't. You said I went to Houston, and then you diverted on to my story. You said, I said, hey, what you been doing? I went to Houston. By the way, what were you doing in California? So you told us nothing about Houston. So,
well, I was in Houston. But I will say I didn't get broken into, which was nice. You know, the last time in San Antonio I got broken into. But the funny thing is, I stayed downtown, got a great rate downtown, had a friend downtown I wanted to see, and just, yeah, that's where I stayed. And a happy coincidence that my hotel was on the other end of the block of the Houston Police Department. So pretty safe place to stay.
Yeah.
Anyway, no issues. So where were we? You're asking something else.
Food. What'd you eat? What you eating?
Yeah, food-wise, nothing too exciting.
Okay.
I will tell you, I had a great new coconut water, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I was out on the west side of town late one evening, and I hadn't had dinner because I messed up. Had breakfast that morning, skipped lunch. It threw me all off. No fasting that day. And man, I was tempted. Like, it's crazy when you're out on traveling. It's so easy to say, oh man, I'm just gonna have, nothing against Popeyes or Whataburger or anybody, but like I was out in Katy and by the mall. I had gone to Bass Pro Shops, okay.
Okay.
And it was
not to your first love, to your second love, because your first love is Cabela's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they're owned by they bought each other. I don't know. I think Bass Pro bought Cabela's, something like that. So
yeah, but Cabela's is like the Ritz-Carlton of those two stores.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be
real. And going
Bass
there
Pros,
is like going
Bass Pros for
is like going to H-E-B without eating, hungry. It's pretty bad. Like I get sensory overload. A lot of the times where I'll go in there for a bunch of things and I'll come out with nothing because it's just too hard to make decisions, and that's what I did. But anyway, I hadn't eaten anything, so that didn't help. And I couldn't find anything to eat, and I was gonna like have some fried chicken or something. And you know what? Another one of those landmark for me instances where I practice self-control, and next time it gets easier. I went over to H-E-B. I grabbed a bowl salad and some spring rolls from the sushi display, and then some cut fruit, and actually was pretty full when I was done. But my point is, I ate that in my truck listening to the radio, and then went to my hotel. So real exciting. Not as exciting as my trips were definitely years ago. When I ate everything in sight and had a couple drinks, and this is a lot less exciting, but I practice self-control. And so anyway, the coconut water I had is called Harmless Harvest Organic Coconut Water, and it's really, really good.
All right.
Yeah, don't know a lot about the company. I did read on the bottle that it's pink. Apparently, real coconut water is pink. I don't know. We're going to get some more today. And then just another product that I love that's a Texas-based company called Thunderbird bars. They're organic, paleo, etc. They're really good. So for a snack, I like Thunderbird bars.
Well, those are all very good.
Yeah.
Thunderbird bars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. What do you got?
Sweet. Well,
I went the long way around that, by the way. I'm sorry. I know I went the long way around that. But
you know what? You did a great job. I want to take my hat out because I thought that was an excellent description, and I visualized you sitting in the truck. Although, I'll be honest, I kind of felt a little sorry for you because, were you in, a parking lot?
Yeah. I was happy.
Randomly just sitting there eating a salad.
Happy.
I know, but
the combo, I found a new combo.
Thought, poor guy.
No, I found a new cut fruit combo that I'd never tried together. That's really good. I guess those are half pints. It's mango, coconut, kiwi. Man, that is a combo I wouldn't have expected that to really like. And it's real coconut. Like, it's slivers of real coconut. It was really good.
I think Ashley may know something about some of those things. I don't know.
Oh,
you may be speaking her lingo.
For sure, that the flavors that they're putting together these days are just really something else. They are taking mixed fruit to a whole nother level.
Mango and strawberry is another really good combo that I don't think a lot of people consider. It's really good.
All right, so I'll quickly into mine. So I've been on the road all week. I did not. My discipline stinks when I'm on the road, so I've yet to be able to change that part of my life. I need to be home to control myself. It's come to that, right? Because I'm not sitting in the parking lot eating salads.
You're letting yourself off the hook.
I'm still eating.
You're letting yourself off the hook.
I'm letting myself.
We're not letting you off the hook. You're letting yourself off the hook.
I'm just being full up. I'm full honest.
Look at this over here.
I'm on the road, buddy.
It's a diversion tactic. Hey, over here. Don't look at that.
Exactly. Well, I wish I could be sitting in a parking lot eating a salad, I guess, and drinking
and you
healthy
know what?
coconut water.
I sent a picture.
Selfie?
I sent a picture to somebody and said, it's pretty sad when, like, I actually felt guilty. I've gotten so conscious of what I'm eating, and obviously not perfect, but like I knew there was, a lot of sugar and that much fruit. I had a lot of fruit, and there was a lot of volume of food that I had. And I thought, man, it's pretty sad when I start feeling guilty about eating what I'm eating right now. Like I think maybe it's time for a little reevaluation. But yeah, anyway,
I think that's
so back to you letting yourself off the hook.
So I come back.
Yeah.
So I get back. All right. So I have this. So this is another one of those super good hacks to make things quick. And so there's it's called Vicky's Kitchen Chicken Breast stuffed with broccoli. Now, I read the ingredients list. I mean, it's all organic, but you can read every ingredient on here. I won't go through each one of them, but it's, broccoli florets and cheese. Cheese is probably the worst thing on this, right? It does have cheese in it, which, dairy products we've talked about are not that great. But anyway, Vicky's Kitchen broccoli. It's a chicken breast stuffed with broccoli and cheese and rice. I believe it's got rice in it. And then I grilled up some asparagus. So, so basically I'm able to take these chicken breasts, which come, I think they're in the dairy section. They're not frozen. But you put that in the oven, and then you clean up your asparagus, throw that in a dish with some olive oil, salt, and pepper. And then I put some rice on the stove, 2020. But I mean, literally, because I was setting up my new equipment here in the studio, and so I was able to get all this stuff cooked. So I had asparagus, rice, organic chicken, and broccoli. Outstanding. But certainly probably the healthiest thing I ate all week. And I think I drank regular water. So it was all straight up healthy. Good to be back at home where I can actually discipline myself and not be tempted.
That's really neat how your body and your mindset gets into that position when maybe you're not eating clean or eating healthy all the time, but when you start getting in those habits, then eating not clean or eating out or getting out of your pattern, that's what's out of the ordinary. So your body craves that routine that you had before you left. And that's really, really awesome. I'm finally there 2 years later to where my body, when I'm out of whack or I'm out of routine, my body craves for me to get back on track.
That's an excellent point. And you know what? That's probably an excellent segue.
That's the real gift.
Your story.
Of it all.
So, yeah. What's that?
I said that's the real gift of it all, actually. Yeah.
Wow, what a great show. Thanks for listening to part 1 of our special guest episode with Ashley Porter. Next week, Ashley opens up and shares her health journey and experience with clean eating. You won't want to miss it.